Welcome to the first ever episode of the Sayless Projects podcast, where stories meet action. I'm Noble Crawford, the fourth, aka Air Noble, and today we're starting at the beginning. If you've ever wondered what Sayless Projects was about, you're in the right place. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Today, what we'll be talking about is basically I've got Vince, the founder, on the line. Everybody said hi. Vince said hello.
What
And he's pretty much going to break down on, what Sayless is and how he got started and what he learned in year one. So, that being said, let's get into it.
awesome.
Yeah. All right. So, let's take it back to the beginning. What made you start Sayless Projects and what was the spark?
I need a cool nickname first of all. The Air Noble thing. I'm like, dude, I gotta have a better I gotta have a better intro.
But we could work
Sayless
on that.
Projects. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to add that to the to-do list. That's piling up right now. Sayless Projects started last year, so 2024 on a cold night in April. Actually, I don't even know if it was cold, but it was in April, and we were getting ready for Mental Health Awareness Month in May. And I'm part of ASIC Sound Mind, Sound Body program. And so I wanted to give back to that team and work with them on an idea to do something for mental health awareness. And the unfortunate experience I had had is I lost my father to mental health stuff. He actually lost his life to suicide. And so suicide prevention is something that's really important to me personally. And so in 2021, I ran for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention for the Chicago Marathon. And so I also wanted to give back to them for supporting me for that race. And so the idea was birthed that we were going to do something for those two organizations. And the idea I had was to do a run from Dallas to Austin because we couldn't just do something normal, right? So that night I thought of a few people, 12, and sent the invite out. And the next thing I know, we're preparing to run from Dallas to Austin to raise awareness for suicide prevention, also to promote mental health. And yeah, that's how it started.
Sweet. So, if you know Sayless, it's got the saying, the art of doing something about it. Tell me about that. Where did that come from? Where did you get that info from?
Yeah, I think me and you, as we started going down the path of like branding it and slogans and mission statements, I really thought of like, this is the art of doing something about it. Like the term say less, we use that term often as you don't have to ask me any other questions, I'm in. And so the art of doing something about it really, I think the root of it was as I went down this path of trying to figure out, okay, what can we do about all these stats I'm reading about suicide and mental health? I mean, we hear about it all the time that the rates are alarming and there's all these issues of people feeling lonely and all these things. And so for me, I'm not one to just sit on stats. I feel like the art of doing something is like, let's do something about it. Let's make a difference. Let's not just sit back and have victim mentality. And so let's come up with a solution. And I think that is really at the heart of Say Less Projects is how can we create projects? How can we do things that will combat against these stats? And, cool stories are like while we were doing something about it, while we were running and promoting this, I mean, while we were on our run last year, we were getting emails and DMs from people that either one were battling with suicidal thoughts or had lost someone to suicide and they were thanking us for doing this. And I mean, I remember just crying in the van at one moment, just like reading these texts and these emails. And to be honest, before losing my father, I never really realized how big of an issue that this actually was. And so I'm so grateful that, people like you and others are helping me to do something about it now.
Yeah, that's a powerful story. I can only imagine how, losing one's father would inspire you to pursue something so great. So my next question, kind of a segue to that is like, what are some of the most powerful moments from year one?
Man, I remember the first powerful moment was just literally taking a second and looking while Taylor and Alejo were going over their route. We're sitting in the parking lot, we're getting ready to take off. And I just had a moment of like, wow, like it's one thing again to talk about it, it's one thing to dream about it, it's one thing to do a vision board and all these things, but to do something about it and to sit there and see that these crazy people were willing to go. Like, I mean, for me, it's just like I look back and I'm like, I still am kind of in awe that everyone just did it because there was like a month notice. It's not like everyone was training and preparing for this. Some of the more powerful moments on the road were just all of us as a crew realizing like how special it was to be doing this together. None of us had ever done anything like that. And so being in that van, as nasty as that van got, as sweaty and as hot as it got on the road, it was such a special moment to get to know these other people, to get to share that experience with each other. Um, and I'll say, so that it's not too long-winded, the most powerful moment, honestly, was finishing. So we're getting there and we're running up on the Capitol, which is where we decided to finish. And you can't make this up. So we're getting there and the police officer is moving the barriers for people to be able to go in to visit. So I mean, I didn't even know that that was a thing. So we get there and he's removing the barriers. We're telling him good morning. He's probably wondering what in the world we're doing because we got our vests on and all this stuff, and we're running past him. We get there, we get to the Capitol, and you know, a lot of times when you do these big things, you get to the finish line and you don't really know how to feel because you've put in all this effort and all this energy and you're exhausted. And we get to the finish, and I'm still kind of just like, that's it, like it's done. Like I don't want it to be over. I see the star at the Capitol. There's that photo that Sam Vanderforst got of me, and I just dropped, man. I just dropped and just started weeping. And just like for me, it was kind of like that moment of like, I've been grieving the loss of my father. I'm doing all these things to try to process that. And that moment was very special for me because I feel like it was like a defining pivotal moment of like that chapter is over and now there's this new chapter beginning of like on the other side of being somewhat more healed and somewhat more have processed those thoughts.
Tweet again. All I'm hearing is power, powerful. Like, and then I'm feel like I'm literally there as you're telling the story. Again, what an incredible
Yeah.
journey to be on. Um, so with that, how would you say that experience and the many other experiences that you faced during year one helped shape year two?
Oh man. So when we finished, I knew like, all right, we got to do this again. This was so special. Everyone's on a runner's high, feeling good. But I talked to everyone, and you know, one of the things was like, we'll never be able to redo that experience. Like it was just so special. You do it once, and we all kind of agreed that like that was such a special thing, and we're all grateful for it. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what would be really awesome way to pay it forward is to give this special feeling we have and this special opportunity to other people. Because again, going back to the original point, is if a lot of people are struggling with mental health and maybe even suicidal thoughts, then there's more of us. There's more people out here that need to have this experience. And so I started asking around and started seeing if I could get some feedback, and the support is there. I have, the A6 program I'm part of, they're on board. There's other people joining on board this year. Fleet Feet has signed on to help. And then when I began to ask others if they'd like to do it, people were saying less. And so I think for me, I'm big on confirmations. Like I'll have an idea or I'll have a vision, and then it's a matter of like, is it time? Is the universe or God or whatever you believe in, is there confirmation that's like going to move the needle and move the ball forward? And so all of those things have been happening. You yourself, you're running this year. And I think for me, I can't wait to see, 12 more people get to experience what we did, but in a unique way and their own way. And all of you are going to have your own stories and your own versions of why you're doing it. And I think that it's really important for people to see other people step up and say, hey, look, my life's not perfect. My life is not, I have problems, I have issues too, but I'm not going to allow those things to stop me from moving forward and saying less and doing something about it.
So it's all about being impactful and kind of, you know, knowing when to move forward and taking care of yourself. I love that. I love that. I mean, that's also why I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 2025. So what's different this year? What's the vision for the relay team?
Yeah, so the biggest difference is obviously it's new faces, new stories. I would say the backdrop, the story that pushed last year. So this year, after this episode, we're going to start interviewing you and the other 11 people that are running from Dallas to Austin, 230 plus miles to champion this cause. And so even just getting y'all's responses on why you're doing it had me in tears. All of you guys are doing this for a good cause and a good reason. And so I'm excited about that. Another thing I'm really excited about this year is we're going to have a team documenting the process to create a short film. And so the goal with that film is to promote it, play it here in Dallas for our hometown, hopefully get to debut it in Austin and other cities, and really just get loud about mental health, get loud about suicide prevention. I think that the only reason a lot of these things are stigmas is because there's not someone tearing that wall down and speaking up about it. And by all means, I'm not saying that everyone has to or needs to, and I'm not saying it's the right way to grieve or the wrong way, but for me, it's the only way. And so I think y'all going out this year and new faces and new people is exciting. Fleet Feet joining is huge. Shout out to Fleet Feet. I'm grateful for their support. We've already done a run with them and we're able to get some donations from them as well. ASICS is on board, other brands, other people. I'm really excited about the people that are running this year. I feel like y'all, I'm a little bit jealous because I feel like y'all are going to smoke our time that we had last year. But in all fairness, we weren't training, we weren't ready. We just kind of went. And so, but I think that you guys are going to really crush it. And I'm really excited to see what you guys accomplish with this.
So I guess last few questions that I have then are, if somebody is listening to this podcast and wants to be involved, what's the best way for them to take action?
First and foremost, I would encourage them to go to saylessprojects.com and, look at the runners, look at what we're doing. And if you feel so inclined to make a donation and help us, we are in the process of becoming an official nonprofit. And we've been very transparent about that on the website. So just getting help in that way to be able to start getting kind of like the back end and the structure and everything set up. Because again, this idea was just out of thin air. And now we're here and we're doing it, and we're going to keep growing this organization. But I would say donating first and foremost. Honestly, you can never have too much encouragement. So sharing, going to our Instagram, Sayless Projects, and just sharing our content, sharing our story. If you are someone who has a friend who's running it this year, just getting behind them, supporting them. Sometimes just hearing from someone else saying to keep going is all you need really at the end of the day. So I would say those would be the ways I would just kindly ask if people could help in that way.
We love to see it. Again, I think it all goes back to the slogan, the art of doing something about it,
Yeah.
and having people step up and kind of make change, which is essentially what we're all here for anyways. So love to see it. If this conversation moved you, share it with somebody who needs it. Follow Sayless Projects, get involved, donate, do something about it, and let's make an
Yeah.
impact together.